From the Hummel studio, this is the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Let's play. Welcome to the Hummel Studios for the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. We are sponsored by Cameron Commercials. If you're looking for a quality new and used van, then Sean is your man. Just go to CameronCommercials.com and Sean will help you out with the van for your business. Delighted that Alan Rough has joined me here in the studio. We're getting ready to talk about World Cup semi-finals. We'll also discuss things closer to home domestically because we're getting ever closer to the new season, and of course there will be the small matter of some European qualifiers at Conference League level and Champions League level to talk about as well. So lots to discuss, and the good news for the start of the season is we will be here with the PLZ Predictor. Yes, Roughie, myself and Tam, looking forward to it. Roughie, all you have to do is get involved. You hit the link and you enter in to the PLZ Predictor to predict the outcome of 6 Scottish Premiership fixtures every week. There's weekly, monthly prizes, and of course we're throwing in a car or £10,000 cash.
Oh, absolutely amazing prizes. Obviously we can't win them, so it'll be competitive between us, and we know what like that is year on year. It's great, and if somebody can do that 6, what a prize to win. It
is a good prize, but they still have to beat us, Roughie, because if we finish top of the table, nobody's getting a prize. So we've got to try and make sure that we're ahead of them in the league table.
Yeah, I think, as I said earlier, we'll be competitive and we want to beat each other, so they'll have to be on their toes to beat us, because I think we did particularly well last year.
Yeah, absolutely. So PLZ Predictor with Lucky Tiger is something to look forward to. If you click on the link in the profile, then you can join us. It's on the website, and all you have to do is enter into that league table and see how you're doing week in, week out, monthly prizes as well, and then at the end of it, can you top the table and beat me, Roughie and Tam? Let's see if you can do it. Anyway, lots to talk about. We'll talk about World Cup semi-finals shortly, but just domestically, Roughie, when I look at some of the teams that are actually just maybe playing pre-season friendlies behind closed doors, I mean, I'm looking at Rangers. Derek McInnes has mentioned that he might have to offload some players before he gets any more in. He's got 28 first-team players. We already know that Danilo and John Souttar could be on the way out. You know, there's a lot of speculation about Connor Barron as well. Could Raskin be sold?
Yeah, I think obviously the reason they have to go out the door is obviously finances. Like everybody, these boys will be on very, very good wages. The new people that are coming in will be on similar wages, so you've got to sort of cut that a bit. And obviously Raskin would give them a pot of gold that they could maybe go for a right good player.
I don't know about you, Roughie, but I think Cammy Devlin is a fantastic signing for Derek. I was always of the belief that he would just wait and see that he was available out of contract and snap him up for Rangers. Really good bit of business with Lawrence Shanklin and well. But Devlin, I think, owes a lot to Derek McInnes, who transformed that position for him just in that, effectively a number 6, taking the ball off the back line, building it, and maybe adding a new dimension to his game. I think it's a great signing for Rangers.
I think it is a good signing. The reason it's a good signing is the manager knows what he's getting. He's worked with the player. Sometimes when you buy a player from abroad and you spend a lot of money, you know he's got a CV, but you don't know how he's going to perform. Devlin's already performed in our division. You know, we saw what he can do. The manager can see what he's done. There's a position there that obviously Derek wants to get down, a holding player. And he does give you a bit of fire. He gives you a bit of fight in the team. So it might be somebody he's just going to try and build round about.
6 players he's got in already.
Yeah, I think he has. But I think we all knew. I think the supporters knew that there had to be a lot of players coming in and obviously a lot of players leaving. But certainly the ones that brought in have been very, very good. I mean, I know there's talk about Ferguson, but maybe Raskin would have to get a lot of money for him to come, because I think they'll be asking for a lot of money for Ferguson.
If they pull off the Ferguson deal, which I think is maybe just a bridge too far, if I'm honest with you, but if they pull off the Ferguson deal, it would be a real shot in the arm for everybody and a real sign of intent of what he wants to do this season, because ultimately Derek knows, it's great getting all the plaudits for Hearts almost winning the league, but Rangers are expected to win the league.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I have to say I was impressed with Ferguson during the World Cup. I thought he was one of our main players. He really a lot better I mean, obviously we didn't see him a lot when he went abroad. We heard how good he was doing, but to actually see him playing in a Scotland jersey, I was very, very impressed with him. So he would be a star signing, and if they can keep a hold of the good ones, he's on the right track, because that's what supporters want at the beginning of the season. They want to see the club moving on from the year before, and certainly Derek looks as if that's what he's trying to do.
What do you think the Celtic fans are thinking, Roughie?
I think they'll be not too happy at this precise moment. Yeah, they've got a striker in. I think they still need another striker and a lot of players. I think the disturbing bit, I mean, obviously reading the papers, that Callum McGregor thing surfaced again. You know,
alarm bells are ringing when you change the agent, and suddenly...
Exactly, you know, and everybody keeps saying, oh, if the money's right, you know, you can't say no, and that to me is a bad sign as well. But certainly Callum McGregor, Engels, you know, Hatate and Maeda, that's the nucleus of your team. And you've only replaced one of them by the centre forward.
Well, it'll come as no surprise to Celtic fans. The only thing I would say at this moment is quite simply they're following a pattern that they've followed for 20 years, which, you know, albeit I think Ange Postecoglou was able to break that style and strategy. They've gone back to what they know, which is don't sign any players so they don't have to pay their wages June and July, predictable. Tell everybody there's, you know, 8 million strips being released, all sorts of variations on it. Celebrate the Lisbon Lions, and then after that, you know, wait right up until the death to not only mould a team, Roughie, but to try and get them past Champions League qualifiers, and they could come a cropper again. And remember, you know, Martin O'Neill is the man who's making the statements now. This is the only communication you're getting. And Martin O'Neill said Maeda and Engels, Stonewall favourites to be leaving. Hatate too. Nygren, if the money's right. McGregor, as you mentioned, alarm bells are ringing. And then you've got, you know, somebody, you know, saying it's a massive coup getting Ross Grant, a set-piece specialist from Hearts. I mean, it beggars belief, Roughie.
Certainly does at this moment in time. There should be alarm bells ringing if these players that you've just announced were all to go en masse. It's a massive refit, you know, to get that many quality players in the time. And I just don't understand how the way the board operate. And I've said this on numerous occasions, if I was on the board, I wouldn't want to start the season, the first game of the season, with no signs up, get the board out. You know, you can't start a season by the supporters, you know, going on to what happened last year on week. It's just not the way to run a club the way Celtic is. And if they don't bring the right players, that's what's going to happen.
The other thing about it, which is quite simply in the board's favour, is they can continue on their merry way. They can continue to do what they want, because quite simply, there's no revolt from the Celtic fans, Roughie, that's going to really in any way frighten them, because they've got such a huge season ticket waiting list. Mm-hmm. The season tickets are sold out again because people are in fear of not being able to get them to go and see their team. Don't want to go and see the board. Don't want to go and see what they're doing, the way they operate. The ultimate thing, which again will accelerate the unrest, is quite simply the results. And if Europe once again becomes a failure early on, which is very much the case. I don't know about you, but trying to build a side for Europe late July, and this is where we're heading to.
Yeah, it's not something I'm sure Martin O'Neill, been in the game long enough, would want to happen. He would want to move players in as quickly as possible, get his best 11 on the park, and for that big game coming up, because I think everybody knows the Celtic supporters love the Champions League. They want to be in it, and you're right again. The disappointment would be there if they weren't to make it. But it was very noticeable, you know, when all the anger was going on around about the protests and everything. As soon as Martin O'Neill came in and started winning the games, that sort of went into the distance. You know, there was a wee corner. It wasn't in your face. So that's why I'm saying I think the manager and the board need to bring players in, because you want everybody pushing in the right direction at the start of the season. You don't want any uprest.
Interestingly enough as well, one of the things that concerns me is Scottish football and the performance of other clubs in European competition. And we'll be looking at Hearts and Hibs and seeing how they fare. Obviously, Hearts have really been out of the traps quickly getting players in. They might even look and say to themselves, OK, we need to find a replacement for Devlin. They know Shanklin's gone. Could Braga be next out the door because he's attracting a bit of interest as well?
Yeah, I think the Hearts supporters will be particularly disappointed the way that their best players have left the team. The ones you're talking about, Devlin and Shanklin, were big fans of the supporters. You know, they loved these players, and they're no longer now. It looks as if Craig Gordon might be retiring as well. You know, so the nucleus of their team has been dismantled. So their new manager has got a big job in his hands, and obviously he's got the backing of the board and the analytics to help him. So I'm sure I think the Hearts supporters are a wee bit anxious as well.
You think so?
Yeah.
Braga, 17 goals, 6 assists in 44 appearances. Roughie, he was good for Hearts.
Yeah, he certainly was, and I think he's already been on record saying like the reason I came to Hearts was to move on to a bigger club. So that's the way it seems to be now, and certainly that kind of record. If he was to go, obviously with Shanklin leaving, that's a big void.
Hearts could obviously certainly welcome the money in European football. They'll face Sturm Graz on July 21st, which is a Champions League qualifier for them. Massive for them. They are at this moment obviously trying to prepare, trying to get that new nucleus of the side together to knit together.
Yeah, and any time we've seen Sturm Graz, I think Celtic have come up against them a couple of times. They've been very good. Obviously the Austrian national team did particularly well in the World Cup as well. A few of their players were in that, so they'll be wanting to achieve the same, you know, to get into the Champions League. So I think it's a big ask for Hearts unless they bring in some more players. What
do you make of Hibs? FK Vlaanderen of Albania or Malashiva of Kosovo in the European Conference? Now, David Gray's got a few players that are attracting interest as well, but he's obviously had to shift a few out, and he's going to have to bring in some more signings as well. I'm hoping Hibs can be better than what we expected of them last season.
Yeah, I think Hibs in European football, along with Aberdeen, have been the disappointing ones. We keep talking about the coefficient, and they're the two teams that have been letting us down any time they've been in. I think we've always wanted them to go a particular distance in this competition. You know, I think not knocking the teams that Hibs are playing, but you would like to think that they're 8, whichever team it is, they'd be good enough to get through.
I'm not at this moment going to jump on the bandwagon of Motherwell this season, Roughie. I'm just going to wait and bide my time.
Yeah, I think so. You've lost your favourite manager, so so you'll be struggling a wee bit now. But I mean, funnily enough, as you know, they train round the corner from here. Again, as I drove in, I was watching them training for 5 or 10 minutes. Very thorough in everything they do. Is very professional. So I think they'll just carry on from where they are. They've got a couple of players as well. They maybe lose at the last moment. So
yeah,
I think the clubs that have been done particularly well last year are unfortunately going to lose their best players.
Yeah, and John McGlynn's got a job to do because he says it's second season syndrome that's going to be the difficult one for them to engineer after such a brilliant season last season.
Yeah, but I don't think they'll change much. I think the players that will bring in will be in the same sort of a format as the ones that are leaving. Obviously, they're big players left. You know, he's a bit Hearts, you know, so...
Calvin Miller was a good player, wasn't he?
I think he was a super player, and he'll be super for Hearts as well. So it's a rebuild, but I mean, Falkirk done particularly well this year. I think they'll be there or thereabouts as well.
Okay, Roughie, domestically we'll keep our eye on it, and don't forget, right across all our social media platforms, we'll be back bigger and better than ever for the new season. Thoroughly looking forward to it when we get the team back together, and hopefully the weather and the heat might just dip a little, Roughie, just to get us back into our normal climate. But as far as the semi-finals of the World Cup are concerned, they won't have to worry about the intense heat now because all the games, all the way to the final now, Roughie, the 3 games remaining will be played behind, obviously, the protection of the roof will be closed, the air conditioning will be on, and hopefully we'll see some special games. France against Spain, England against Argentina. It's what we expected.
Yeah, I think it is right from the very start. I did think there would be another South American team in it around about there, but it wasn't to be. I think France have shown to me to be the better of the 4. Are
they the favourites?
I think they're the favourites, you know, but I mean, as we've seen in this game, and you've touched on it in numeric, lots of goals in the last minute and extra time and things like that, you know, so the temperature, the weather must be taking its toll. I think England and Argentina have been the two, not favourite, but they've been very fortunate. I think the two of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, England getting the second goal, the goalie makes a mess of it. You know, obviously Argentina, the boy getting sent off, you know, when it looked as if it could have went either way. So they two are getting the wee breaks here and there. I think France and Spain are just playing tremendous football. You know, they haven't had any wee lucky moments to get themselves where they are. They've done it themselves.
I think all three teams will be looking and saying to themselves, it's about trying to stop France. I think Spain certainly have got the best quality overall as a unit to take on France. I mean, this is a French side that have had 6 games, won them all, 16 goals. Mbappe's had 8 goals and 3 assists. He's been absolutely on fire, Roughie.
Yeah, I mean, they have been the team to watch. They're exciting. They've got the exciting players. But as you said there, Spain do dig in. You know, they only lost 1 goal, and right in the whole competition. That's always a very, very good sign.
They had a wee scary moment against Cape Verde.
Yeah, they did. But I mean, the substitutes seem to come on and do the business, and that's what you need. Obviously, these games, I think one of these games will go into extra time. So you need a lot of firepower on the bench, and Spain certainly have that.
Okay, quality players, Mbappe, Olise, definitely. Dembele, Stonewall certainty, top drawer player. Barcolo, again, up there. Doué, that's the top players for France. For Spain, Marino, Oyarzabal, Yamal, Rodri. Give me your prediction, Roughie. I've given you the key players.
This is going extra time. I really, this is definitely going to extra time. And I hope whatever settles it is like a wonder goal for Argentina last night. You know, I hope we get a go. That is just to have that technique and that ability. I hope whichever team, France or Spain, wins it with a wonder goal at that last night.
Okay, give me your prediction.
I'm going to go France.
After extra time?
I'm going to go France after extra time.
But no goals, what? 1-0, 2-0?
Oh, no, not 2-1. I think 2-1 seems to be the favourite scoreline in this cup. So
okay,
I'm going to go 2-1.
Scoring goals against Spain's proved to be difficult for many teams. I'll go France to win 2-1. Could be extra time as well, Roughie. England against Argentina. Thomas Tuchel far from happy with the overall performance. He thinks there's more to come from England. Albeit, you know, there's people getting their knickers in a twist about the ball hitting the camera up in the air. But it was still at the halfway line, Roughie. They'd still had a fair bit of time to defend it. Norway, should they feel unlucky, or, you know, is it a case of the gods are shining on England?
I think the gods are shining just now. Any evidence of that second goal that they got? If obviously the goalkeeper hadn't made a mess of it, you know, it would have been interesting to see how that game had went. You know, it could have went either way. And if it had went into extra time, you're always thinking that somebody's going to come up with something special, but it didn't have to be. I just think the two of them, if you look at France and Spain, you look at the quality, as you've said, they've just got there. I look at England and I look at them and I just don't see it. And Argentina, for me, I'm not convinced. I mean, they've got it. You know, you definitely got it in bits, but they're all over the place. You know, they're not.
He's gone to kind of a 4-4-2 though. He's
got individuals. You know, who just pop up from nowhere. You know,
well, McAllister's a good player.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that
Martinez.
Go for somebody's what 5'9", 5'10" to go up there and hit that in. Martinez, yes, most definitely. Obviously, Messi's there. But
he scored 8 of the 17 goals, Roughie, Messi. He's been unbelievable.
I know. But they don't look like a total team. They look like a team who can come up with something and then for 15, 20 minutes they drift out the game.
Yeah.
And the other team come into it. So they haven't, for me, they haven't done the perfect 90 minutes yet. And if they do the perfect 90 with the players that they've got, they'll be hard to beat. Okay,
if England have all their players firing in all cylinders and Argentina have all their players with that number 10, you know, you've got Kane and Bellingham. Bellingham's been outstanding, Roughie. Bellingham, for me, has been the outstanding midfielder of the tournament.
He wasn't too happy with the manager having a wee go about him, his fitness levels, you know. Maybe that's just to get maybe Bellingham's that kind of player, you need to get a reaction out of, you need to get somebody to...
I think his overall complaint was that he feels as if they could play better football. That's fair. But, you know...
Performance, if everybody talks about performance, but at the end of the day, if you win the game, for me, that always outdo the performance level. But he is that kind of guy that he's wanting everybody to play at their peak and get the best out of them. So both teams have got certain players that can win the game. Yeah, okay. It was extra time against Cape Verde. It was injury time to knock out Egypt. And then, of course, they played against the 10 men of Switzerland and they managed to, in the end, prevail. I'm looking at this one, Roughie. I've tipped England to win the World Cup. But
if I'm going to be brutally honest with you, I think Argentina are going to shade this by a 2-1.
And I think a lot of people will be hoping Argentina will do like 2-1. I think it's going to be a great game. I think, as you said there, the players on either side can turn it on at any particular time, particularly Messi. You know he's going to come up with something. But
It's his first time facing England.
I think this is going to be really tight. This is going to be really. I hope it's not a goalkeeping mistake or something like that.
A handball.
Or anything like that. And I'm sure. I mean, I told you I watched that Southgate documentary about penalty kicks. The amount of competitions have been knocked out on penalty kicks, and I'm sure if it goes to penalty kicks, it's going to be a nervy time for England. If
it goes to penalty kicks, Roughie, who's the better keeper, Pickford or Martinez?
Martinez.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think Martinez, big time. We saw it in the last World Cup, the save he made for them to go on and win it. I think Pickford is very, very good, but I think Martinez, I think it's not about the goalkeepers, it's who steps up. Does Saka step up?
Yeah.
After the European.
Does Messi
step up? Did they let him?
Does anybody tell me can't?
Yeah. But no, I hope it doesn't go to. I hope again this game is won by a worldie.
Yeah.
Somebody scoring something unbelievable.
An Alvarez special.
Oh, top class.
Or a Bellingham piece of magic, or Kane inspirationally doing
something like that. Somebody, and all these players have got it in them to do that.
Give me a prediction, Roughie.
2-1 Argentina.
Right, okay. says the former Scotland international goalkeeper. Give us your prediction on it. We'd love to know what you think about it. There's your semi-finals. There's our predictions on it. And talking of predictions, what about PLZ Predictor for the new season? We're looking forward to it. All you have to do is click on the link in the comment section as well, and you can get involved, because Roughie, Tam and myself are really looking forward to predicting the outcome of all 6 Scottish Premiership matches week in, week out. They'll be shifted about here and there, but you'll be able to look at your points in the table. We'll be offering weekly prizes, monthly prizes, and of course a car at the end of it, or £10,000 equivalent in cash for yourself if you top the table. But if we top the table, Roughie, all bets are off. And we are looking forward to battling away.
I think we'll have to come up with a wee trophy in-house.
Yes, for us.
We like a trophy at the end of it, so we'll get one of these so people can see it sitting. See who's going to win it.
Absolutely. Take us on. PLZ Predictor with Lucky Tiger. We're really looking forward to it. And hopefully you can hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel and come and join the PLZ family. We'd love you to be part of it for the new season as well. We'll be continuing with not only the football show Monday and Friday, the journals will be back on the Wednesday. I'll be out and about interviewing people, one-to-one specials. There's lots to look forward to in content. And of course, with our brand new website up and running, if you click on the link, you get straight through to the Predictor as well. And we've got something special coming up from Hummel to tell you about over the forthcoming weeks, which I think will be certainly of interest to you if you indeed have a boys or girls team and are looking to get maybe some special kit. We've got a great competition for you there as well. So all to look forward to. Thanks to Roughie for today. Enjoy the semi-finals, enjoy the weather while it lasts, and hopefully your team gets through to the World Cup final, which we're looking forward to on the Sunday as well. So from Roughie and from myself, Peter Martin, thank you for watching, thank you for listening.